We've got Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. And Bobby, this is your guy, Tony Ferg. He's got good foot movement, but movement overall, man, watching his last fight against Patty, he is so slow. Like, he is so slow. His punches look slow. His kicks look slow. His defense is slow. He keeps his head up, and he just got pieced up by Patty, almost subbed by Patty. He can't get off his back either. If he's taken down, he just kind of stays there. But part of his game is the submission game, so he's not always trying to get up. He opened at a 490 underdog. He has moved to, at the moment, it looks like 455. Chiesa has no striking game. So neither of these guys really known for their boxing, and you're going to throw him in a ring. We're going to see what happens. Chiesa, though, low volume. He walks backwards. He was out-wrestled bad by Sean Brady. Watching that fight back, they stood and banged, and I think he got taken down towards the end of the first. And then it seemed like the whole second and third, he was just held down by Sean Brady and just pounded on. I know I was saying how slow Tony Ferguson is, but you're taking a guy who I think is on a 7-fight losing streak and a guy on a 3-fight losing streak. I believe it's one guy hasn't won in 3 years, one guy hasn't won in 5 years. And you're going to tell me a guy who hasn't won in 3 years is worth minus 625? Like, I know Tony hasn't had a good run. And if you look at the guys he's faced, I mean, he faced Patty, who I believe probably is ranked after this past weekend. Lost to Bobby Green, lost to a lot of the top guys in the division. He has a lot of wear and tear. But you can get Tony at plus 455. 37% of the bets, 65% of the money. I think that might scare some people off, seeing 65% of the money. But, hey, I doubt this fight has much money on it because both these guys are older and on these long losing streaks. Nobody really wants to – there's no dog to put money on. Like, you don't want really any part in that race. You'd rather go down to the Sharas and the Umars, those interesting fights. Marlon Vera, Figueiredo fight. That's going to be a crazy fight. That's going to have a lot more money. You can get 65% of $1 or 40% of $100. Yeah, 65% is more, but it's of a lesser pot. So I think that might scare people off. Once again, only 37% of people on Tony. I think at plus 455, and I even saw him open at plus 5 something in a couple spots, but I'm taking Tony, man. I'm taking Tony at the plus 455 to get it done. I think with him and Chiesa, once again, neither of them are great strikers, so I don't think he's going to get pieced up, and I think he's going to be able to defend Michael's takedowns. That's all Michael has, and if this goes to decision, I think that Tony can do enough. I don't. Both these guys really can get finished. I could see Chiesa getting subbed, and I can see Chiesa getting the knockout of Tony. So it could go either direction. But I feel like Tony has more ways, more paths to victory, and you're getting him at a really, really nice price. So I'm really interested in what you think.
So I'm always live, local, and late breaking with my news and my sources and my information if you've been following me on Twitter. So do you know why the line is driving so heavily towards Michael Chiesa as being the favorite right now? What's driving that train?
What?
I know his mama got tickets. His mom is the one putting money on him. His
Don't
mom
say
is
that.
the one putting all this money on Michael Chiesa right now. So, yeah, I agree with you. I'm in on Tony, and here's the main reason why I'm in on Tony. Once again, just like the whole Godinez takedowns would be exactly what Darren wants. If Michael Chiesa tries to take down, that is the most clear avenue to victory for Tony Ferguson. The most active guy off of his back, constantly subbing off of his back, getting the sub off my boy Kevin Lee off his back, like very active guy in guard. That's going to be exactly what Tony Ferguson wants. And BJJ Glass Cannon, that is Michael Chiesa. Do you know how many, like, Darce or Brabo, whichever one you want to call it, it's the same fucking thing. You know how many times that man has been choked out? A lot. 71% of Michael Chiesa's losses have come not only by choke, but by the same choke. Kevin Holland, darsed him. Vincente Luque, darsed him. Anthony Pettis, triangle armbar. Kevin Lee, rear naked choked him. Jorge Masvidal, darsed him. Do you know what Tony Ferguson's nickname was when he was on that insane win streak in the lightweight division? And I'm not even making this up. I'm dead serious. the Darce Knight. That was like his Twitter fucking tagline forever, was the Darce Knight instead of the Dark Knight. That's what Tony Ferguson went by, because one of his favorite submissions is the Darce. And he got Darce over Lando Venata. He got a Darce over Edson Barboza. He got a rear naked over Tebow, a rear naked over Abel Trujillo, a Darce over Mike Rio. Like, the man has so many fucking Darce choke wins that he put it in his Twitter handle for the longest time, the Darce Knight Rising. So, yeah, I'm trying not to let my whole Tony Ferguson fandom, cloud my judgment here. But you pretty much explained everything I was going to say. That was the only little tidbits I had to offer in to kind of further flesh out the argument for Tony Ferguson. I know that it's rough, and don't get me wrong, I do believe that he has been sparring, and he did need to spar. Usually I will not say that fighters need more sparring in their life. He needed more damn sparring. He needed more actual rounds with actual training partners instead of hitting Wing Chun dummies and all that bullshit. But unfortunately, even though I do believe that he really is trying his hardest to actually revitalize his career, I still, at the end of the day, I can reconcile, A, that it's too late for that, and B, also still acknowledge that this is still a very winnable fight for him, because Michael Chiesa has no fucking business being this heavy of a fucking favorite against anybody in MMA in 2024 now, because just as much as Tony Ferguson is a case study in what the hell happened, so is Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa went from a guy who won his season of The Ultimate Fighter, like, God bless the man. He had to overcome a lot of adversity with his father passing away on the show and still went on to win it. So kudos and respect to him for that. But I'm also never going to bullshit you folks. And I'm never going to do puff pieces and just glaze over people for no damn reason. Michael Chiesa should not be minus 600 and Ferguson should not be plus 440. And that's too tantalizing to pass up on Ferguson. I hope he gets the Darce, because Michael Chiesa is so susceptible to the Darce. And this is grade A prime example of your exploits and the positions and the things that Chiesa does, leaving his neck and his head on those takedowns just so wide open for the Darce. That's a habit that has led to him get some subs. He's gotten a rear naked choke. He's got he rear naked choked Beneil Dariush when Dariush was one of the top guys in that division. He rear naked choked Jim Miller. Jim Miller's a very skilled grappler in his own right. Kimura over Carlos Condit. Like, the guy's an accomplished grappler. Like, videos of him rolling with Luke Rockhold, beautiful grappling between the both of them. But he has an exploitable habit that has a long track record of him getting caught in Darces, going up against the guy who loves to lock up a Darce. So this is perfect evidence and perfect case study of what I mean by what are your habits, what do you do in fights, what does the other fighter do in fights, how does that help you win, how can that also help you lose. It's going to help him lose, unfortunately, against Tony Ferguson this weekend, and I might be coming back to this fight for a haymaker, but for now, plus 440 Tony Ferguson all the way.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast. Better in Green.